The NFL draft is in the books. Now we got to look ahead. And especially on the virtual gridiron, a lot of fantasy footballers out there already have immediate thoughts. Horvat, I think, has already participated. I know Nick Costos participated in a dynasty league draft
Yep.
over the weekend. So some of these drafts already gotten underway. Some of the rookies already flying off the board. So a lot of people, they're going to be thinking about this stuff around the barbecue, drinking a few beers, talking to their buddies, debating where to draft certain guys, debating who to keep, who to throw back. So we're going to, try to, establish those mindsets throughout the entire summer right here on BetMGM tonight to get you prepared for the most glorious time of the year. That, of course, is fantasy football draft season. Peak season comes in August, but we're going to guide you all the way leading up to that big night, and you may have drafts much earlier, especially a lot of you best ballers out there. Those drafts have already gotten underway. All right, Horvat, so you're going to bat lead off as you always do. First person up is an obvious name. We're focusing on running backs from this year's draft class and who naturally is the top of the wish list.
Yeah, so I actually have my Dynasty League. Our draft is on Wednesday, right before we get into work here on the show. So that should work out pretty well. The good news is I have the number one overall pick this year. The bad news is to get the number one overall pick. My first year in Dynasty League, my team was absolute nonsense. My roster dealt with more injuries than the Illinois basketball team. It was like the plague ran through. But I like us to bounce back because we're going to take Ashton Genty. So Raiders select him number 6 overall. Unfortunately, he doesn't go to Chicago, or I would probably be on a beach somewhere right now. But, I mean, they're drafting him as a top 10 pick, meaning they're going to use him. And you brought it up, man. It's Pete Carroll, but also it's Chip Kelly. The college numbers are ridiculous. He had a 99.9 career rushing grade. He averaged over 200 rushing yards per game as a freshman, one of 3 running back prospects to do that over the last decade. And he also a really good receiving back. 2 years ago at Boise State, 3.2 yards per route run. And like I said, it's Chip Kelly, and we know Chip Kelly likes to use his running backs as pass catchers, but also if you look at his time in the NFL, his NFL offenses, 1st, 7th, 4th, 11th in rush attempts. So Genty's going to touch the rock a lot, 25 to 30 touches. You said it, I think, before the show. You would have him right behind Saquon Barkley. I don't think that that's crazy, man. So I'll be drafting Genty. I know he's a rookie, but I think that he's going to be a stud for the next at least 4 to 5, hopefully 6 to 7, hopefully 8 to 10 years for the Raiders. Love Genty, so I'm going to go with him number 1 overall on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think that's a great call. Again, he's just put up galactic numbers. And, he didn't do it at the, Lake Superior State or the Sisters of the Motherless Poor, right? Or
Right.
Bethune-Cookman. He did it at Boise.
Yeah.
Boise was a very respectable program. And even against, top-level competition, he was still putting up silly numbers. I mean, he was number 1 in total yak, number 1 in total missed tackles force, number 1 in breakaway runs. Those are runs of 15 or more yards. He gained, after initial contact, 75.9% of his freaking yards. I mean, the guy was a stud. An actual tour de force. He can catch the ball clean on the backfield. He's going to be the centerpiece of the Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll offense. As I already said, 275 carries at a minimum. I'm probably going to catch at least 35 balls. I think you're looking at probably 1,300 to 1,500 combined yards. And I already got a bet on this as well. 10 or more rushing touchdowns. I got it 3 to 1. I think it's on the table. It could be like 12 to 15 come years in. He is that good, folks. Don't fear the unknown. Buy Ashton Genty and thank yourself later because he is going to be the bee's knees in fantasy this year. And so is this guy, my guy, RJ Harvey. Out of UCF. I watched some film on him. I love this guy. I love what the coaching staff is already saying. I mean, Sean Payne's come out and said that, he's barely been the tip of the iceberg when it comes to catching the football. We think he can catch like 50, 60 balls in our offense. And, he's pint-sized, he's built like a beer keg, but with feet. And he's fast as well. And you look at RJ Harvey and some of the advanced analytics that are out there. According to Pro Football Focus, he was number 6 in total yak last season for Central Florida. Number 12 in yak per attempt at 3.68. Number 5 in total missed tackles force was 69. Nice. And also number 2 in breakaway run rate with 32 of those dashes of 15 or more yards. And he caught 20 balls, and he was underutilized, again, as a receiver. Mike Clay's got him projected at ESPN for 189 carries, 824 yards, and 5 touchdowns, but also 46 receptions, 380 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. Got him as RB23. I think he's going to be better than that. I
Yep.
mean, what's his competition? It's Jaleel McLaughlin. Okay, scat back, change the pace guy. It's about it. Otter Estime, what's he getting? Maybe 3 to 5 carries at most in a game as a power back between the tackles. That's it. That's all there really is on the Broncos roster. They were number 11 last season in run blocking efficiency, according to PFF. You got Bo Nix and his duality. That'll open up some lanes. RJ Harvey, it may be the second best running back fantasy-wise in this class. I think he's going to be a top 20 guy, and I can't wait to steal him probably like round 6, round 7 of my 12-team half-point PPR draft. All right, next up, you got a guy that was the second running back off the board on the NFL draft this year, and who was that?
Yeah, Marion Hampton, who I know is Mario's favorite player in this draft, and he goes to the Chargers. I loved him at UNC. Averaged at least 8 carries of 5 or more yards. He could run you over. Now, the only problem is might take some time, like a couple weeks for him to be the 3-down, every down back because they bring in Najee Harris. But man, I don't think you're going to be able to keep him off the field. And the other good thing is I can see both of these guys, even to start the season, having double-digit plus carries because it's Greg Roman. And last year, the Chargers were 12th in rushing attempts. I think the offensive line should be much better this year. So I love Amarion Hampton, man. Maybe not a top 10 back to start the season, but I think when we get to the second half of the season, the last 6 to 7 games of the year, I think he's going to be a top 10 option, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud for the Chargers. The only issue is Najee Harris, but with Greg Roman calling plays, I think he's eventually going to be a 15 to 20 touch guy.
Yeah, and Harbaugh's already come out and said they're going to be a 1-2 punch. And
Yeah.
I think that one punch eventually is going to be Amari Hampton. Totally agree. He's just got more juice in the legs, and Najee Harris has become a bit of a plotter later on in his NFL career. All right, I'm going to go with the Bears 7th-round pick. Somebody got to keep an eye on Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers. Again, the Bears draft in the 7th round. A lot of people are going to just bypass him, forget about him. But we've seen a number of guys. In fact, it was the 7th rounder out of Rutgers who have had success in the NFL. And his name, Isaiah Pacheco. You know him for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Monangai could be that guy. He could be the first and second down running back on this Bears roster because he ran more zone scheme attempts than any other running back at the FBS level last year. And that's what the Bears run under Ben Johnson. It's going to be a wide zone format. And I think he's an excellent one cut and go back. Gets appreciable yards after contact. 3.37 yak per attempt is what he posted last year at Rutgers. Number 8 in total yak. He was also tied for 6 in missed tackles forced with Caleb Johnson. I'm going to talk about here in a minute. I like Monangai a lot. We'll see if the Bears sign somebody. Maybe they get Rub-a-Dub-Dub and the Chubb Club on roster. Maybe they don't. Maybe they like what they see in rookie camp. But keep an eye on Kyle Monangai. If he is one of those guys in the heat of competition this training camp, I think he's going to seize the early down duties and maybe surprise with 6 to 8 touchdowns this year. Next up, Horvat, who you have?
All right, so Quinshot Judkins, I think this is a really interesting landing spot going to Cleveland because, like you said, man, I think they move on from Nick Chubb. Hopefully he ends up in Chicago with Ben Johnson, but Quinshot Judkins should be the new Nick Chubb. But I wouldn't want to reach for him just because you still have Jerome Ford and you still have Dylan Sampson, and they're probably going to play on the passing downs. And as we would expect, them too. But the Cleveland Browns are probably going to have to throw the football quite a bit this season. Their win total is only 5.5. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Is it going to be Kenny Pickett, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel? We have no idea. So I like him, but I don't want to reach too far. But I do think that Judkins is going to take over the Nick Chubb role. So I could see him, being, like a 6 to 8 touchdown guy. But, with them not really having a quarterback and not a great situation, I don't know if I want to reach, but I do like the pick for Cleveland.
Well, and Andrew Berry, their general manager, already came out today and said bell cow when discussing Quinshot Judkins. So
Yeah.
that's a buzzy term. That'll get things moving south of the border for a lot of you fantasy football players that are out there. But he's on a lousy team, so we'll see. But the defense is a plus. And if that is indeed a defense that lives up the hype, he could certainly earn quite a few carries in the regular season. I like Caleb Johnson, my last guy, landed at Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
prior to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Mike Clay's got him projected for 918 rush yards and 7 rushing touchdowns, 8 total touchdowns overall. Combining along with 25 receptions, 180 yards, and that TD. He's got him an RB22. I think it's a little aggressive. I would think he's going to be in that RB25 to RB30 range. But last season for the Hawkeyes, number 4 in YAC per attempt. At the FBS level, number 6 in total missed tackles force, again tied with Kyle Monungai. Number 3 in breakaway runs, a decent receiver, and he got Jalen Warren there. So he's the new Najee Harris, right? And if he's the new Najee Harris at a minimum, he's going to be a top 30 running back in fantasy this year.